really saddens me to have to be here and speaking to you about such a tragedy. All 14 victims have been identified.
Breaking tonight as we come on the air, the names we knew were coming out of a tragedy we hoped would never happen, but it did more than a week ago in Louisville. All 14 names released today. Jefferson County Coroner Joanne Farmer there saying all families have been notified after a terrible week of waiting. Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Their names are 62-year-old Captain Dana Diamond, 57-year-old Captain Richard Wartenberg, 45-year-old First Officer Lee Truitt, 3-year-old Kimberly Asa, 47-year-old Lou Fedden, 37-year-old Matthew Sweets, 35-year-old Megan Washburn, 52-year-old John Lux, and 45-year-old Angela Anderson.
Also 52-year-old Carlos Fernandez, 37-year-old Trinidad Trina Chavez, 65-year-old Tony Crane, 45-year-old John Spray, and 31-year-old Ella Petty Wharton. WHAS11's Ian Hardwick has been talking to some of their family members today.
He joins us live from near the crash site. So, Ian, what have these families told you about finally getting this news?
Connie, they said it was an agonizing wait over the past week. They found out just yesterday about their loved ones. I talked to Angie Anderson's sister, Jessica Rush, and she told me it was like being stuck in limbo, but now that she knows the reality is starting to sink in, now that these names have been read, they won't be forgotten.
The names of those that are missing match the names of those who the coroner has identified as victims.
Standing in Metro Hall Wednesday, Coroner Joanne Farmer held all 14 precious names, bringing them to light for families who suspected the worst. Their loved ones died when a UPS cargo jet crashed south of the runway.
I had a family member ask me yesterday, how do you ever get used to this? And I said, I don't. If I get used to this and it doesn't bother me anymore, I'm in the wrong profession. I need to move on to something else.
With the names read, she hopes healing can begin.
Captain Dana Diamond, 62 years old. Captain Richard Wartenberg, 57 years old. First Officer Lee Truitt, 45 years old. Angela Anderson, 45 years old. Carlos Fernandez, 52 years old. Louis Fedden, 47 years old. And Kimberly Asa, who was the granddaughter, 3 years old, of Mr. Fedden. Trinidad Trina Chavez, 37 years old. Continuing, there's Tony Crane, 65 years old. John Lux, 52 years old. John Spray, 45 years old. Matthew Sweets, 37 years old. Ella Petty Wharton, 31 years old, and Megan Washburn, 35 years old.
While the smoke has faded, the memories of those lost live on in their families' hearts. Like Angie Anderson, her sister says she raised 4 children with a big smile. She left work and dropped off scrap metal last Tuesday. Or Trina Chavez, a grade A employee cherished by her kids and coworkers alike, and a dozen more.
Every one of these names is a circle of family, friends, stories that will forever be unfinished. I've heard it said that everyone dies twice. Once when you take your last breath, and again when your name is spoken for the last time. So as we hear these names today, let's never forget their lives, their laughter, their love.
Love, just one side of a coin shared with grief.
The grief will lighten a little bit as time goes on, but the price of love is grief, you know.
Trina Chavez's family also reached out to me this afternoon. She was an employee at Grade A Auto Parts. Her family says their hearts go out to all the other families dealing with this. Also saying they shared Chavez's photo so that people would never forget her unforgettable smile. They go on to say that they're lost without her. In Louisville, I'm Ian Hardwick for WHAS11 on your side.
All right. Thank you so much, Ian, for that update. Also new tonight, we have a brand new audio clip from an air traffic controller in Honolulu, the destination where UPS Flight 2976 was headed.
The call you're about to hear came in just hours after the deadly crash in Louisville, an air traffic controller expressing her condolences.
UPS 68 heavy test. Yes, ma'am. It's hard to find words to say on a day like today, but we definitely feel a gaping hole where Flight 2976 should be parked tonight. And so from all of us here at the Honolulu Control Facility, please convey our profound condolences to the entire UPS family and Godspeed to those souls that were lost today.
And as you just heard, the air traffic controller was speaking to another UPS flight, UPS 68, at the time of that call.
We're going to continue to update you on this developing story over the coming weeks, certainly as we learn more information.
Well, the best way to continue getting these updates on air is by downloading our WHS11 Plus app on your smart TV. You can download that for free now.
Right now, Councilman Owen has introduced an ordinance at Metro Council to rezone that property so it cannot be used for the same industrial use that is historically been used for. I support Councilman Owen's resolution.
We turn now to the 1 year we've been following the deadly Jividan plant explosion in the Clifton neighborhood. 2 employees killed and 11 others injured.
Mayor Craig Greenberg saying he supports a resolution to rezone the property, saying he'd love to see it used for a different purpose in the future. And 1 year later, neighbors are still dealing with that explosion in different ways.
Some people moved away, others stayed, attending a series of meetings with the plant and community leaders. Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton also flew our Sky 11 drone over the site again today to see if anything has changed 1 year later. Isaiah?
Well, Doug, we'll see that drone video in just a moment, but for a second, we're obviously on the ground here just off the property, which still has pretty much 24/7 security. From what you can tell, you can actually see behind me from the distance some of that debris that we've become so used to seeing here on 1901 Payne Street. If you actually look off to the side here, this was different to us. We've covered many of these sort of updates through the months. You see sort of that black just spread all across where that sign used to be. That's where we are 1 year later. And there are folks who their ultimate message right now is don't forget about us. Now, I want to take you to the sky here, our Sky 11 drone video from 1 year ago here in Clifton. You can see the enormous response to the explosion. First responders racing to put out fires. 6 months later, in May, this was the site right in the middle of that federal investigation. And then today, the area is mostly clear, but still with some of that mangled wreckage, that debris pushed to one side. Today, we talked to a former Jividan employee who was inside the factory that day when tank number 6 exploded.
I felt bad because I made it out and 2 people didn't. I felt grateful, but I also felt like, why did he save me? Like, what was so special that he couldn't cover the other 2 lives?
That's Sharice Johnson there. She tells me the impact of the blast threw her up against the wall, and she says a fellow employee helped her up as the ceiling caved in and they rushed to get out. Now, in a statement, a Jividan spokesperson told me they've worked to help ensure similar incidents do not occur elsewhere. They are in discussions, sort of considering their options for where essentially to move, and of course the ultimate question, will they end up selling this property? Because as of right now, the city does not have it yet. And of course, until they do, they cannot build something new on it. Doug, Connie.
Thank you so much, Isaiah. You can stay up to date on the latest developments in this story also by downloading our WHS11 app. It is free to download wherever you get your apps.
We felt the warm up today, finally.
Felt good.
So nice, yeah. Temperatures in the 60s, a little bit breezy, but that westerly wind really amping up the temperatures today as we continue to thaw out. We're taking a live look outside from our Midway University camera. This one's always good to show when it's a breezy day over Hurstbourne. part of our Shriners Children's Camera Network. Temperature-wise, right around normal, if not a few degrees above average today, with highs in the low to mid 60s in spots. Madison currently sitting at 55. When we're over 50 degrees, you don't factor in that wind chill. 24-hour temperature change map, though, showing these temperatures running 15 to 20 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, and I'm sure you felt that difference today. Max HG radar, lots of sunshine. We had a few high clouds from time to time, but obviously no rain or snow to track, just mostly sunny conditions. Current wind gusts not nearly as high as they were earlier today. We did have a few gusts up to about 25 miles per hour earlier. Now we're just seeing a handful of those wind gusts between about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and those winds should relax a bit more as we carry on throughout this evening and into tonight. Expect those lows to dip back down into the upper 30s. We'll talk about another chance to see the aurora tonight and when we could hit 70 degrees. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast.
Valerie, just into the newsroom tonight, drivers should expect delays on I-71 in Louisville over the next few years. That's because we've learned about a $50 million project, and it begins next week. The governor today announcing the upgrade to 71, one of Louisville's most important but congested interstates.
Yeah, I just heard years. The 2-year project will increase capacity for the corridor from 4 to 6 lanes while improving traffic and safety. That work zone will extend along a 2-mile section of I-71 in Louisville, but traffic along the current 2 lanes in each direction will remain open during peak times.
Work is scheduled to begin Monday. Overnight lane closures may take place, expected to be finished by the fall of 2027.
Today, a Louisville family was back in Frankfort to share what it's been like since moving their autistic son to Kansas, where he's receiving care he can't get in his home state.
Frankie Moldavanu has profound autism and is nonverbal. His violent outbursts were too much to handle at home, making it unsafe for his parents and sisters. All year, we've been sharing his parents' journey and finding him the care he needs. And that took them to Heart Spring in Wichita, some 700 miles away.
Now today, Frankie's mom, Rachel, spoke before a joint committee on families and children, revealing how hard it was to leave her son. But she said she knows he's in the right place now and is thriving.
His transformation has been nothing short of a miracle. Frankie has drastically improved in his communication through his AAC device. He is building sentences. He is matching pictures with corresponding words at 88% accuracy. For the first time in my son's life, he has a voice.
Well, Rachel's fight is to bring Frankie home one day soon, but that can't happen if there's no residential facility like Heart Spring in our state to care for kids with autism. It's a similar situation for many adults. Kentucky's currently paying millions of Medicaid dollars a year to send kids like Frankie out of state for care. We recently learned there are now 7 Kentucky kids living at Heart Spring since our original stories on Frankie aired right here on WHS 11.